Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
Defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
We are broadcasting live from the Kaida studio, so welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. Man, it has been a long time since I've done a show. I mean, holy crap, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute, you know. There's a lot of stuff going on, you know. Last week before last, maybe it was, I had some eyeball issues. You know, I got something stuck underneath my contact lens. I had to end up going to the doctor to get my eyeballs checked out. And basically, since it was like a couple hours or 3 hours after I got something in there that I took my contact out, I had a corneal ulcer, which is a bad deal, apparently. You know, it really sucks. You know, it definitely sucks. So I was one-eyed Willie there for a while. You know, if you guys get that reference, let me know in the comments. One-eyed Willie, because the clinic that I went to, the lady asked me, it's like, do you want an eye patch? And I'm like, hell yes, I want an eye patch. And I could be a pirate. That'll be amazing. Yes. So she gave me an eye patch. So yeah, I was one-eyed Willie. My left eye was the one that I messed up. So yeah, and I asked her, I'm like, so how long until I'll be able to see again? She goes, well, it'll be about a week. I was like, crap. And it took a while for me to no longer have as bad of light sensitivity. And I tell you what, there's some definitely light sensitivity. You know, I don't have the studio lights quite as bright as I normally do. And it's still pretty bright. I don't like it. It's definitely bright. So like I said, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking a little bit about the great replacement, Elon Musk. We're going to be talking a little bit about gas prices, the Ukraine, the baby formula bill, the disinformation thing that they were looking at doing. We're going to be talking a little bit on the Sussmann trial. We're going to be talking a little bit about Roe versus Wade. But before we get into all that, I got a little bit on something that I want to talk about. And that's a couple movies. All right. Now guys, look, you know, I am sure that like you, when it comes to, you know, Hollywood doing, you know, prequels and stuff like that, we're kind of hesitant on, you know, watching those because, you know, I mean, let's face it, they've done some flops, you know, they've screwed it up. They've made horrible decisions on things. They've made the movies just for the sake of making a movie because the name recognition alone is what they are wanting to basically sell. You know, don't even get me started on Highlander Endgame. But a prime example of that is with the movie series that I'm actually talking about, and that's Ghostbusters, because, you know, whenever they did the all-female cast, which was, you know, just nothing more than the, you know, social justice thing that they were doing. It's like, oh, let's just do it with the all-female cast, you know, just for the sake of using an all-female cast. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I watched it. I did like it. Could have been better, but it wasn't horrible. You know what I mean? But whenever I seen the previews for Ghostbusters Afterlife, I got a little orgasm going on. I was like, dude, I want to check this out. This looks absolutely amazing. So over the weekend, I watched it. And I tell you what, guys, that movie was amazing. No spoiler alerts. I ain't going to do that to you. You know, it was absolutely amazing. They did a great job. They tied it in nicely with, you know, the original movie. They had even some cameos of the original cast. You know, I mean, they did a flat out good job. And then a couple days ago, I stumbled across this article from, it looks like, Parade. So let you check that out. Iceman returns, how Top Gun Maverick star Val Kilmer was able to speak again with the help of artificial intelligence. I was like, that's actually kind of cool because, whenever they were finally actually dropping, trailers on Maverick, I was like, I see Val Kilmer in there. Okay, I've not seen Maverick. So obviously there's going to be no spoilers in this one, and this is something that you can see by watching the trailers. I'm not giving anything away. But I seen that Val Kilmer in the trailer was, at least on the wall, his photograph was up there as being basically the Viper of the Top Gun school training facility. Okay. And I was like, how are they going to do that? Because Val Kilmer, for those of you that don't know, he's got throat cancer. So it's like he can't speak, So is he going to be a character that's actually in it? Or how was that going to work? Or was this something they were just using his likeness, his name recognition that they got, permission to do, obviously? How are they going to do it? Those are the questions that I had. I was like, because this... how are they going to do this one? I didn't know. And that's whenever I stumbled upon this article and it's like, so that's how they did that. So that's pretty cool. So, hey, Maverick, and I tell you what, guys, I've watched a little bit of making of again, and this is all of just off of the trailers that was on there, and it didn't give anything away as far as, anything of what's going on in the Maverick, but what them actors did. Their training to be in the movie and how they actually ended up doing it. Because them actors are actually in the jets doing those maneuvers. I mean, this isn't green screen. This isn't Hollywood movie magic like what you would expect. They're in these jets. Of course, they're not the pilots of it, but they're in these jets. I'm like, holy crap, this is cool. I'm anxious and excited to see that. And one of the things I heard was like, this is the first time that they have ever done anything like this in Hollywood for a movie. And, it kind of sounded like they might not ever do this again. They might not do it again. I don't know. I'm anxious to see the movie, to see exactly, I'm anxious for the movie. I really am, And if this is as good as what, come on, the hype, okay? Top Gun is one, it's a movie from the 80s, I don't remember exactly when Top Gun came out, but it's been out for a while. And it's like, dude, I'm anxious, man. I'm wanting to see this movie. And if this thing lives up to the hype, holy crap. And I would hate to know the budget that they spent on this movie. But who knows? I mean, they may not use this type of thing again in a flying, type of movie like this one is. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So let's move on from there. Now, you guys know how I like to. I don't want to do that. Get off of there. More options. I hate it whenever they do this kind of crap. Whatever. Okay. Now, I don't know how much y'all have been hearing about this. Get off of there. But there is apparently a new kind of pox, I guess you can say. It's not chicken pox. This is monkeypox. Yeah, that kind of made me go, huh? I don't know what the difference is. I don't know if it's something you get from monkeys or versus chickens. I have no idea how this thing is, but this headline from, I don't even know where this thing's from, Wales Online. Headline reads, you guys are going to love this. I'm telling you, you guys are going to love this. Monkeypox outbreaks in Europe linked to fetish festival and sauna super spread event. Yeah. You heard that right. Fetish festival. What? this is one of them things that I was like way off. Wow. Whatever. This was one of them things that I was like, this can't be what it sounds like. There ain't no way. This can't be what it sounds like. There is no, a fetish festival monkey. Are you kidding me? I don't know. And this is one of them things that it's like, I kind of wanted to read this article and kind of look into it a little bit to see what the heck was going on. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't really think I want to know what they mean when they put fetish festival in this headline. I mean, holy crap. So the article says that the Harvard professor has stated that there are now 127 confirmed cases in 11 different countries. And from what it looked like, the U.S. is one of them. I believe it's in up northeastern U.S. I don't know exactly where, but 127 confirmed cases in 11 different countries. Monkeypox is apparently a thing now. Yes. Let's see. It is in Western Europe as well as in Australia, the U.S., and Canada, Spain. Yeah. So Portugal. Yeah, all kinds of different places. But again, I don't know. I don't want to know what kind of a fetish is going on with monkeypox being contributed to a fetish festival. Yes. As weird as is it as weird as what it sounds? Who knows? Continuing on. Now, this one is one of them things that will have your blood boiling, I am sure, as it had mine. But this headline from The Hill: Senate Democrats propose Department of Justice license requirement for gun purchases. Now, guys, I don't know if you've read the Constitution. That whole Second Amendment. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't know if you read that or not. But this is the very definition of infringement. Requiring a license that is done not by the state level, not even talking about the whole aspect that this is a violation of the 10th Amendment, obviously, but it's also a violation of the 9th and 10th Amendment as well. The states, considering this is something that is specifically forbidden in the Constitution for the for them to infringe upon, obviously, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, this is a power that was taken away from the federal government. So, not even making this a state, that the states can do it. This is taking the states' power away from them as well. And granted, as part of the Constitution, you have to agree, whenever these states joined the Union, because, let's face it, guys, this is not a nation of people, as in the U.S. of A. This is a nation of nations. And the federal government is represent all of the countries and to represent the nation as a whole abroad. The interior is supposed to be controlled by the individual states, thus limited power to the federal government and more broad stroke powers to the state. Any power that is not explicitly granted that is not specifically given to the federal government or restricted to the states belongs in the hands of the states and the people. That's what the Constitution says. So Senate Democrats proposed Department of Justice license requirement for gun purchases is the very definition of infringement. This is exactly what our founding fathers did not want at all. Not at all. And then there's also this headline from American Military News. The Dems' new gun control bill, federal license needed to buy one gun, confiscation, 5-year limit on license. Now, guys, I live in the great state of California. We say it like that because, you know, what happens in California seems to very much filter into what happens in Illinois. That's just kind of the way things seem like it goes quite often, you know. So we call it California. This is one of the few states that actually require you to have what they call a FOID card, F-O-I-D card, which stands for Firearm Owner's Identification Card. So yeah, we have to register just to get an FOID card to the state. They do a background check, the whole 9 yards. After you've passed said background check and you get said FOID card, you still have to be approved for every single gun purchase you make. You know, not so much ammunition. You know, ammunition, you do have to present your FOID card. But to buy a gun, you have to go through the checks. Even though you have it, even though it's not expired and still active, and I believe they're good for 10 years if I'm not mistaken, but you still have to go through all these background checks, and it's like, dude, this too is infringement, just so you guys know. You know, I'm not saying that I want just no checks whatsoever. I understand that you know, a lot of different cases, yeah, you might want that. You know, I get that. You don't want certain people, you know, felons, people that have, you know, chosen to operate outside of civilized, you know, the national laws. I can speak. I really can. So I'm not saying I don't believe in background checks whatsoever. However, you know, what we should be and what every single state should be, and why this is an argument, I have absolutely no idea, but it should be constitutional carry. Because the Constitution is my FOID card. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I mean, hello, how hard is that? Apparently, it's pretty stinking hard. Constitutional carry. That's the way it should be. I don't understand what the debate is. I don't understand what the argument is. And this is the thing that every single state, whenever they decided to join the union and they voted on that, that is the thing that they agreed to uphold. The Constitution. I mean, there's no argument on freedom of speech. Well, there is, but that's beside the point. There's no argument on freedom of press. Well, there is. We won't talk about that. There's no argument on freedom of religion. Well, there is. But we won't talk about that. And everything seems to go the way of the dodo bird because a lot of people seem to assume that the freedom of equals the freedom from, and which is why cancel culture and, you know, the thought police are out there in record numbers nowadays. But at any rate, moving on. So guys, we still have a lot more to talk about. Holy crap, I am going to try to keep this show relatively short, but I just don't see it happening considering it's already been almost 20 minutes into this thing. And holy crap. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And when I return, we're going to be talking about some Roe versus Wade stuff. We're going to be talking about the Sussmann trial. So just a couple minutes and I will be right back. We're going away. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. Lot to go through on this segment, so let's go ahead and dive right into it. We are starting off with Roe versus Wade. For anybody who has been living under a rock for a while, then y'all have maybe not heard that the talks of the Supreme Court possibly overturning Roe versus Wade, which, in all honesty, is exactly what should happen. Before you argue, again, and we kind of talked about this on the last segment, any power that isn't specifically granted to the federal government and restricted to the states belong in the hands of the states. And prior to Roe versus Wade, which was passed in not passed, okay, this isn't based off of a law that went through Congress. This was a ruling that was made by the Supreme Court back in 1973. And this whole thing premised upon, wait for it, privacy. Patient-doctor confidentiality. That's what this whole entire thing predicated on. That's what all of it was predicated on. So here they want, women to have, unfettered rights whenever it comes to their reproductive organs and, control over their body, full autonomy, as they want to say. But yet, whenever it comes to getting a jab, you have no rights, even though there is actually a law, an actual law, not a fake Supreme Court ruling made by people whom were not elected and are not subject to the people. An actual law. Dave over there in Facebook land, how you doing, sir? He says, howdy. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. I really do. Good to see you over there. But, an actual law, and of course I'm referring to HIPAA law, where doctor-patient confidentiality actually means something to where, they don't have you are not legally obligated to tell them anything regarding your health. And yet, now they've kind of, thrown that out the window with this whole jabby jab. Good times. But Roe versus Wade, privacy, autonomy. Josh over there in YouTube land, he says, what's up? How you doing? Good to see you, sir. Oh, yeah. Glad to see you over there. So, now, guys, I've been vocal on my thoughts regarding, abortion. Very much so. And I know it's one of those hot button topics, and a lot of people would just much rather not even discuss it. But, there's a couple things on this that it's like, holy crap, it's like, really? Okay. And what it boils down to, and when it comes right down to it, okay, now one, they like to say that, because I'm a guy, I can't have an opinion. I'm not entitled to an opinion whenever it comes to abortion because I'm a guy. I have zero say in this. But it's like, here you're wanting to talk about abortion, which doesn't actually affect the woman. It is a procedure that is done to an unborn baby. Well, if you're not a baby, then why should you have a say on abortion? I don't know. They don't want to talk about that one. And I found it rather telling, very, very telling, whenever I had heard, and I don't remember who it was, okay, but this was a hearing, a congressional hearing, and they had a doctor that was being questioned, and they were asked to describe the abortion procedures with an unborn baby, a woman who was 20 weeks into their pregnancy. And, well, the doctor, who was a female, who was a woman, her pronouns were she, her, outright refused to describe it. You know, they want to talk, they want to speak about, you know, the science. We've got to believe the science and all this other kind of bull crap. But whenever it comes time to actually medically describe the procedure of how they rip apart an unborn child at 20 weeks of pregnancy, they don't want to talk about it. Why? Because they know that if they actually talked about it, they might actually kind of sway people's thoughts, feelings regarding abortion. I mean, she flat refused. You know what I mean? I mean, let's not talk about how unfairly weighed against men that all of this is. Because it's like, I mean, dude, you know, here they want, you know, full autonomy to an unborn baby to be given to a woman. Okay. But we also live in a time when they can't even define what a woman is. What do you think a woman is? And when asked, you know, that there was a person, congressional hearing, that was like, oh, well, you know, we don't want to put labels on somebody. We think that they should determine for themselves what they are. You know, science. And we live in a day and age where we had, in a congressional hearing, somebody whom they say is an important, you know, a smart, intelligent individual that flat said in a congressional hearing that men can get pregnant and have an abortion. What? I'm from a school of kindergarten cop. For those of you of you know, my generation, I'm sure knows the movie and knows exactly where I'm going with this. It's pretty simple. This is science. It's pretty easy to understand. So talking to this person who was I believe she was a doctor. I'm almost positive she was a doctor. I would like this doctor to medically describe for me how a man, and by man I am of course referring to a biological male, how he would get pregnant. Describe to me the birthing process. How is this going to happen? What would the abortion procedure look like? I mean, they can't even, you know, scientifically tell you what that would be for a woman. But that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Men can have children. No, they can't. Are we living in stupid land or something? I mean, really, this is the most nonsensical thing I have ever heard. You know, I mean, there'll come a time when up is down and down is up and left is right and fire is wet and water burns. And I mean, this is the world we're living in, isn't it? I mean, this is ridiculousness on a whole new level. But if they want to do this kind of a thing, you know, and okay, guys, look, if you're going to make these type of decisions, let's at least make it make sense. You know what I mean? You know, that's like you have in certain states where it's like, you know, you can even do partial birth abortions and that's perfectly legal and you can do that and that's fine. And you should not be questioned on your reason behind why you want to get an abortion. And let's not even talk about, the whole rape and incest thing, because it's like, guys, this doesn't even account for 1% of all abortions out there. So like, why are we talking about something that don't even pertain to 99% of the abortions out there? But at any rate, it's like we don't want a guy to have any type of decision on this, absolutely whatsoever. But it's like, okay, well, what type of rights do guys have? Okay. Because a while back ago, I seen an article where a kid was raped. It was a statutory rape. Well, it wasn't even statutory rape. It was just flat rape. Okay. And the woman who raped the boy, the underage kid, I don't remember his age, but it doesn't matter. She became pregnant and sued him for child care. You know what I'm saying? And won. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? A victim of rape was forced to pay child care to the person who raped him. If a guy has absolutely no right to speak out, speak against, talk about, have an opinion on, then why is it that guys don't have any type of decision-making ability whenever it comes to childcare? Whatever that important word is. I don't even remember what it is. It apparently is I don't know what it is. And not even to talk about the ridiculousness whenever it comes to, the whole, a baby isn't a baby until they're born. Okay. But yet, if you are a guy who beats a pregnant woman to death, you're getting 2 counts of murder. Wait a second. How can I murder something that isn't alive? Child support. Thank you, Josh. Child, so that's that fancy word I'm looking for. Guys, I tell you what, man, I have, I don't English very good sometimes, and sometimes simple words, simple things like that just gone right out of my head. I'm sorry. Child support. That's that thing I'm thinking of. So yeah, a kid who was raped by an adult was awarded child support and won in open court. And you're going to sit there and tell me that the court system, that the legal system, the justice system isn't packed against guys. It is ridiculous. I mean, guys, look, I'm not saying, be a deadbeat dad. You do that, you choose to do that, have the baby, you should provide, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, but it's like, dude, guys don't get custody near enough. It's stacked against them. And if you fall behind even a little bit, I don't know how it's like in other states, but in Illinois, I mean, you miss a payment, one. Let's say you miss a payment when the baby is, a baby, a toddler, 5 years old. You miss one little bitty payment. You're on the dole now for the rest of your freaking life because of the late fees and the penalties that they stack onto that. You're done. You're not done when the child reaches 18 and not even going to college, is entering into the workforce. You're paying for the rest of your life. That's freaking ridiculous. It is stacked against the guys horribly. There's no understanding. There's no, I don't even want to say sympathy, but it's like they don't care. You miss one payment. You have one oops, and you're on the dole now for the rest of your life. You'll never catch back up because they put so many penalties, so many so many fines added on to it. So much, what's that? Not inflation. What's that thing I'm looking for? Interest. Yeah. So much interest onto that thing that you're done. You're done. You might as well, dude. I heard something today or not today, but it was like a couple days ago, but it's like, dude, and now in the state of Illinois, I mean, there is no, okay, are you guys ready for this? Are you sitting down? There is no cap to how much money they can charge you in child support. I know somebody whom is paying over 50% of their monthly wage, monthly earnings, not take home, but gross, over 50% in child support. To a person whom barely works, gets aid out the wazoo. They get, they're on the, the health thing, whatever that thing's called. Man, I'm having a hard time with hard words today. They get food stamps. They get all kinds of aid and assistance, and he's got a decent paying job. Don't get me wrong, but he's paying over 50% of his monthly earnings, gross monthly earnings, to child support. And what was bad was, now, are you sitting down? You're going to love this one. You're going to, and I'm not giving any names. I'm not giving any details. I do not have permission to do this. And if you're watching, you can smack me later if you want to. But they wanted him to put, his kid on his insurance. And he's like, I can't do that. Like, well, you need to. Well, I can't afford it. You guys are taking so much money away from me in child support that I can't even pay my bills if you guys do this to me. I don't make enough money to cover it. I would be better off, and I even told him to do this. I'm like, dude, I ain't telling you to be a deadbeat dad, but you would be better off quitting your freaking job, getting a cash under the table job. There's a lot of them out there, and you can make pretty darn good money doing it, and saying, screw it. I mean, what the heck? I mean, this is the world we're living in now. Moving on. I'm done on this one. Done on this subject. Roe versus Wade, Roe versus Wade, Roe versus Wade. So yeah, the bottom line is, I mean, this is something that should be in the hands of the states. This should not be in the hands of federal court. Let the states decide. Before Roe versus Wade, before 1973, and this case was done, not a law that was written on the federal side, a handful of unelected, appointed people that are not beholden to the people decided that this is the way we're going to do it, which overturned all the rulings in the states that had rulings on this. It should go back to the states. And that's the only thing that Roe versus Wade would have actually done had they decided to go ahead and do it. But then I read this headline. Where is that thing? There it is. This headline on Fox News. I want to finish this little portion, and then we're moving on to Hillary Clinton. We're moving on to the Sussmann case. But this headline, Supreme Court again declines to rule in abortion case despite protests. Now, guys, look, I read this article a little bit, okay? And one of the things it puts in here was a leaked draft opinion by Justice Samuel Alito aimed to do just that, stating that Roe and Casey must be overruled, referring to the original 1973 case that established a constitutional right to get an abortion, and 1972's Planned Parenthood versus Casey, which upheld that right. Monday was the second time that the Supreme Court released opinion since Politico published the leaked draft opinion. The leak sparked protests by non-choice activists, both in front of the Supreme Court building and outside the private homes of Republican-appointed justices. And they claimed that the work of the court will not be affected in any way by this leaked information. And of which case, I say, y'all are full of crap. You're full of crap. Whoops. I don't know what button I press. Let's get rid of that. But y'all's full of crap. Dadgummit. All kinds of things popping up that ain't supposed to be. I apologize. So even though it's the right thing to do, it's the right thing to do. Let the states decide, because according to the 10th Amendment, they are the only ones who have the right to decide. It's them to do this. We're not talking about anything else. It's just this is the state's right to decide, and it is the right thing to overturn Roe versus Wade. No, this doesn't mean anything about anything else. You know, they wanted to play the games of let's just make people mad about nothing. You know, kind of like the anti-gay bill, which didn't have anything in it about anti-gay. It was the Child Protection Act. It was the Parents' Rights Act. That's what it was. Instead, they lied and lied and lied and lied and lied. The same thing of what they're doing with this, with Roe versus Wade, trying to make people, it's going to outlaw porn, and you're not going to be able to, have gay marriage anymore if they overturn Roe versus Wade. What are you talking about? What are you none of that is true. Are you kidding me? These are the things that Trash going to try to convince people that overturning Roe versus Wade is going to do? No, you're lying. Why are you lying? Because they want to make people mad. And whenever they were talking about, we might have riots. There might be war in the streets over overturning Roe versus Wade. And they wouldn't even tell you that these riots would be coming from people on the left. It's like, there's going to be people on both sides. What? No, you're lying, but whatever. Roe versus Wade should be overturned. This is not a federal matter. This is a state matter. Let the states decide how they want this to be done. What type of limitations they want to put on it. If you want free abortion on demand, move to California. Move to, I'm sure, Illinois. Don't move to Texas, obviously. And they will pay, as in the taxpayers will pay for you to hop on a plane if you do live in Texas and go to California, and they'll pay for your abortion, they'll pay for your travel, they'll pay for your room and board, your lodging, your recovery, everything. They'll do it. Why? Because they believe that much in a woman's right to kill a life. I said what I said. Moving on. Now, you guys know how I like satire. And you guys know that the Babylon Bee is the place that I go for a lot of satire. It's a fun time for me. So this headline from the Babylon Bee: we at the Babylon Bee would like to announce that we have obtained dirt on Hillary Clinton, and then it stops. I was like, that's freaking hilarious. That is funny right there. That made me laugh. If you guys don't get the joke, I'm not going to explain it to you. It's a fun read. It really is. I ain't going to get into it, but it was a fun read. Moving on. I've got several articles on this. As you guys can see, there's a bunch of them in here. I got articles from The Hill. I got articles from Just the News. I got articles from Fox News, articles from Fox News, and so on. And I'm sure that if you head on over to thehohoshow.com, click on that newsfeed tab, and after seeing the magazine on Flipboard, I'm sure that there's even more in there that I don't even have up on my page right now. But anyway, with this Sussmann trial, and that's what we're talking about, is a Sussmann trial. That's the wrong one. The Sussmann trial, there has been a lot of stuff that has been coming out on this, and there's been a lot of stuff that they're not talking about. Of course, mainstream media wanting it to stay quiet because they don't want you to know just how stacked against the prosecution that this thing is. Because we are talking about a judge whom was an Obama appointee. We are talking about a jury where three of the jurors are confirmed, self-proclaimed supporters of the two of them supporters of the DNC and Hillary Clinton specifically, and one of them a supporter of AOC. And they are supposed to non-bias in this. And it has been released, it has come out, the truth has been uncovered that Hillary Clinton specifically had a hand in this Russia collusion, which for those of you that may not remember, you know, the dossier that was done, that was a complete lie, fabrication, a hoax. They knew it when they sent it. They did it anyway. That the incompetence was so bad from everybody involved that nobody thought to try to confirm any of it. And it went how many years? Wasted how many millions of dollars investigating Trump on a fabricated political hit piece on this. I mean, that's what we're talking about. An absolute political hit piece that was the foundation of all of this crap. An impeachment trial that was a sham. This article from The Hill, Tale of Two Trials, how Sussmann is receiving every consideration denied to Flynn, who was actually doing his freaking job. You know, the guy that committed, I forget what it is that they put him on trial for. But it was like, oh, we can't allow Flynn to, you know, uncover our dirty little secrets on how we operated things and how we tried to do everything that we could to keep Trump out of the White House, and how they started the coup before he was even inaugurated on January 6th of 2017. That took me a while to remember that date. Because Flynn was doing his job. You know, Flynn was doing the same thing that his predecessors have done for modern history on dealing with, you know, the transition team of getting into the office and doing a peaceful transfer of power. Where was the peaceful transfer of power? So yeah, everything is stacked against the prosecution on this Sussmann trial. You know, there's information, there are things that they are not allowing because it may be too damning to Hillary Clinton, all kinds of things on this. But it's like, dude, let's just let this play out. Let's see what happens. You know, and this one we all should be concerned over this, because this is an aspect of, you know, and all kinds of people on the right have been, when are we going to see some trials? When are we going to see some, you know, something happen? When is this thing going to, you know, see its day in court? We finally have it, the first of hopefully many indictments and trials to come regarding all of this crap. And we have this many things with the obvious Democrat judge, Hillary Clinton supporters, AOC supporters, DNC supporters, donators, you know, people who work for the party, people who have worked for Hillary Clinton, and we want them to be non-biased, and we want to ask them not to commit suicide. That's what we're asking. Don't commit suicide. Wait. Okay. Don't unalive yourself. What was this? Oh, a video. Okay. Clinton campaign manager drops bombshell exposing Clinton and media mob's years-long Russia hoax. And I don't know where that headline went. But it was, the whole thing started. Oh, yeah, there it is. And this was from justthenews.com, a very good news source to go to. If you guys have not heard of justthenews.com, definitely check them out. Again, that is justthenews.com, not a sponsor, but Hillary Factor. Evidence now shows that false Russia collusion story began and ended with Clinton, because he admitted under oath that Hillary Clinton signed off on the dossier that started this whole thing. She signed off on it. She was personally talked to and signed off on the whole thing, knowing that it was false, or at least wasn't confirmed, sent it into the FBI, hoping that they would vet it, that they would research it, that they would find out if it was, legit or not, and nobody did. And they lied about it, saying, oh, yeah, this is good information. Oh, yeah. And even claiming that they also intended on giving this information, the dossier, the Steele dossier, to mainstream media to try to have, different news organizations, to have them use their investigative journalists to vet the information to see if it was true. So definitely saying that, oh, the mainstream media is in the pocket of the DNC, of course, as if we didn't already know this. And that's one of the things that came out in this trial. Oh, yeah. Moving on, guys. Moving on. We're going to go ahead and take another quick break. When I return, we have got some more stuff to talk about. We're going to be talking about disinformation, the baby formula bill, the Ukraine aid, the $40 billion of Ukraine aid that has recently been sent over to Ukraine. We're going to be talking about this right on the other side of this break. Don't go nowhere. Yep. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. All right, and we are back. And that was one of the first times that one of the little things that pops up in that thing that was on was actually right. You know, technical difficulties, because I was having some technical difficulties there for a second. But we got everything under control now. It is all good to go. But unfortunately, since I was trying to take care of that, I didn't set up this next run of stuff that we're doing. So what are we starting off with? Disinformation police. Yes. That is, disinformation police. So for those of you that haven't heard, give me a couple seconds to pull just a couple articles up right quick. Now I've got some articles from... Yeah, we don't care about that. Okay, so we got some articles that we are putting up here. Got from the Daily Signal, got articles from Fox News, of course, got articles from Glenn Greenwald, and from, the Washington Examiner. So let's start off with this headline from the Daily Signal. Headline: Disinformation Board paused. Mary Poppins director out, but Biden suppression of free speech continues. This headline from Fox News, New York Magazine: Disinformation, a fantasy that lets liberals lie to themselves, avoid agony of self-reflection. Homeland Security's Disinformation Board is even more pernicious than it seems. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that one right at all. And this one from the Washington Examiner: Biden disinformation chief Nina Jankowicz pushed Trump-Russia collusion claims. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. That did not work. It's close enough. Anyway, now I don't know if you guys are familiar with the George Orwell, wow, that took me a second, 1984. I don't remember what it is referred to in the book, but it's amazing how George Orwell had so much right whenever he wrote 1984. Because one of the things that it talks about in there is crap. What do they call it? Or what do we call it? Well, controlling the narrative, because that's what it amounts to. That's what they talk about, controlling the narrative, okay? The disinformation police that they were going to have being done by the Department of Justice is a holy crap. If you thought the Department of Justice doing the whole national background check licensing for this for guns and firearms a violation of the Second Amendment, then the disinformation police is definitely an infringement on our First Amendment right, freedom of speech, because these people wrongfully think that freedom of is the same as freedom from. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not. I hate to tell you that. I don't care about your feelings. Your feelings do not overweigh the truth of my facts. I'm sure there's a better way I could have worded that, but you all know what I'm saying. Your feelings are not more important than facts. Period. I don't care how you feel. It doesn't matter. I'm a Gen Xer. Your emotions don't matter to me. I'm sorry. I don't care. If you don't like it, tough. When you are in the public square, which, yes, does also include not just the public square outside, but also the platform, which has been deemed the public square in the interwebs. It's the same freaking thing, thus the Section 230 exemptions that they have that make these places unliable for what other people post on their platform, because they're not the ones in control of the information that is being spread, therefore giving them legal exemption from liability, being accountable for anything that is said. Because why? It has been deemed by the public, it has been deemed by the federal government as the public square, an entity, a space for freedom of speech. That's what it was designed and set up for. The thought police. They want to control the narrative because they don't want people on the right to get together and talk about things. You know, that's why Truth Social and others of the like, and of course, Elon Musk being the, buying Twitter, even though you have, other people that, own it, well, doesn't matter. They don't want the right to have their own platform. They want to control the narrative. That's why the trolls, whenever Truth Social first came out, shut it down. That's why the powers that be shut down Rumble by revoking their access to, their servers. They didn't want people that they didn't like to have a voice. That's what it amounts to. And we're going to get into that whenever we're talking about Elon Musk, which will be later on in the program. But that's what the fact of the matter is. 1984's George Orwell is coming true. The thought police. They call it misinformation, which we already know isn't misinformation, and is just information that is damning to the left, which is why they don't want people to know about it. Which is why they ban certain things, not because they think it isn't true. They know that it is true, but they just don't want that information to get out. They don't want it spread around. Okay? That's why they squashed all of the discussion on the famous laptop before the election, because they didn't want that information to get out there. They didn't want it to spread. They didn't want that to sway people's vote. They didn't want that to happen. So they squashed it. And then they had to come out and be like, oh man, we're sorry, but what we thought was just Russian disinformation kind of seems like it's true. And we're sorry. And even though there was a bunch of people that are like, you know what, if I would have known, if that information was readily available as it should have been, I might not have voted for Biden. Gee, you think. They knew what they were doing. The thought police is already out right now in numbers. They know what they're doing. Moving on. This next headline. Now, guys, I tell you what, whenever I first looked at this, I was kind of, on this one, I was kind of set apart. I was kind of like, maybe, there might be something more to this. There might be something in this that they're not wanting us to know, which is why they're, not really giving us a lot of details. I mean, obviously. Okay. And again, this is kind of one of the things that if y'all live underneath a rock, maybe you don't know, but there's a shortage right now on baby formula. The average everyday citizen is having a hard time getting baby formula. and their answer to this crisis, are you ready for this? Was go to your doctor and ask for some free samples. That's what their answer to this crisis was. Now, what happened was there was a factory that made the baby formula. There was a couple deaths that were loosely attributed to the baby formula. And by loosely attributed, it was, these two babies that died was using this baby formula that came out of this factory, and there was only two. And I mean, hey, come on. It's life is, death is tragic. It really is. Don't get me wrong. I'm not making light of, these children dying or what their parents are going through. I am not making light of this whatsoever. Do not get me wrong. But they died, and it was some type of a bacterial infection, I believe, is what it amounted to, and about the only thing that they can contribute this to, the common factor, if you will, the common deduction. I didn't say that right. Is this baby formula. So they shut it down. I think this was, all right, I don't remember my timeline on this. I do apologize, but we're in January, February, March, April, May. Almost done with May. We got 1 week of this month left. And this happened like back in February, if I'm not mistaken. So they shut it down. They had this big, huge cleaning that was done. I mean, they went through and cleaned everything. Now here's the thing, guys. Let me be perfectly clear on this one. Okay. No. We'll get into that here in a second. They went through this place with a fine-tooth comb. Okay. They went through it with a fine-tooth comb, inspecting this facility. I'll tell you what they found here in a second. But they shut this factory down, this production plant of the baby formula, shut it down, inspected the holy crap out of it, cleaned it from top to bottom, and then like within, this happened in a matter of a week or two, and then 3, maybe 4 weeks later, if that, I think it was in March, actually, that the FDA went into this plant, inspected it, stamp of approval, and they have still yet to open. What's the holdup? So this was like in March, if I'm not mistaken. 2 months ago. Why have they not opened it back up yet? Josh puts in here, he goes, goat's milk can also be used, and it's healthy. And you're right. I've heard that very thing, and that's absolutely true. That yes, goat's milk is actually really good for you. In fact, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, isn't goat's milk healthier for peeps than what cow's milk is? If I'm not mistaken, I think that's true. I'm not completely sure, but if I am remembering correctly, goat's milk is supposed to be better for us than cow's milk is. It's more closer to, people milk, Soylent Green milk. If you get that reference, let me know down in the comments. That's hilarious. But yes, goat's milk can be used as a healthy alternative to formula. So you had two deaths that were contributed to this factory that made formula. Now, here's the thing. The bacteria that these children died from were not found in the factory that they shut down. That's the little aha that I held off on giving you earlier. They inspected it. They investigated to see if they could find the cause of death, the bacteria, the cause of death. He says you can probably get it from your local farmers, and yes, goat's milk is healthier than cow's milk. Thank you, I appreciate that. But they investigated it. They couldn't even find the bacteria that caused the deaths of these two infants. They shut it down. They cleaned it. They inspected it. The FDA gave this plant a stamp of approval, and still, like 2 months later, a month and a half later, it has still yet to open up. Why? And you guys want to know the kicker? Just recently, after the damage has already been done, after it's the impact is being felt and seen on the shelves of grocery stores everywhere, after we're already in crisis mode, after there's no more toilet paper, because heaven forbid, what does formula have to do with toilet paper? I have no idea. I do know that almond milk causes a little bit of an attack in the loose deuce. I know this one. I won't tell you why I know this one, but I do know that one. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. It's crazy out there. It's still yet to open up. But just recently, they have allowed the first shipment of baby oil from Europe to come overseas. Now, here's the thing. Moms and dads everywhere are having trouble getting formula for their infant children. You know who's not having any type of trouble getting formula? Well, we can ship a bunch of it overseas to help other people out. There's a butt ton of it, which actually is a legitimate form of weights and measures. The butt ton, it's an actual number, apparently. I don't know what it is. I forget, but it's an actual thing. A butt ton is an actual thing. But there's all kinds of formula on the southern border. Yeah, go figure that one out. But they are just now allowing baby formula to come over from Europe. Now, here's the thing that's funny. This is funny, okay? Baby formula in Europe is actually better than our baby formula. It's healthier. It's better. So why haven't they let European baby formula over here? Are they doing this crisis on purpose? Are they wanting this to happen? Is this a, pre-planned thing, an attack on our store shelves? And, what are they looking to gain on this? I'll let you be the judge of that one. But they had an opportunity to open the factory back up. Why they shut it down in the first place, especially considering they couldn't even find the bacteria that was attributed to the cause of the death of 2 infants, and there was only 2 of them out of how many thousands of people that consume this baby formula? Only 2 deaths. That's not even enough to warrant a recall. Death is tragic. Don't get me wrong. But there is absolutely zero proof that this formula out of this food production place, names I'm telling you, had anything to do with it. None. And yet now we are in crisis mode. Not even allowing other countries to assist us who have a better product than what we put out on the shelves. A better product? Yeah, a better product. I mean, let's face it, guys. We live in a country that doesn't allow GMOs to be used in our food-based products. But yet, the same government that says that you can't use GMOs says that you have to use GMOs from these very powerful companies like Monsanto. Yeah. I mean, you guys knew that, right? Okay. We live in a country that, I mean, do you guys understand how much food that we produce that they don't allow in other countries because it's basically a toxin? It's bad for you. It has been attributed to people dying and death. They don't allow it in other countries, but they make it for us. I shit you not. GMOs being one of them. You don't believe me? Go to Canada. Go to Canada. You would be surprised. Okay, guys, I tell you what, there was the longest time that you couldn't even buy Mountain Dew in Canada. They had to make a Canadian-specific recipe to be sold in Canada. You drink a Mountain Dew here in the States, and it tastes wonderful. It tastes amazing. I love it. Go to Canada, drink a Mountain Dew. You'll hate it. Why? Because it ain't the same. It's a different recipe. Why? Because Mountain Dew is freaking poison. There's no other way around it. There's no other way to put it. It's a poison. It is bad for you. Holy crap. And no, that isn't the reason why I stopped drinking. I mean, I was an avid Mountain Dew fan. I tell you what, I drank all kinds of Mountain Dew. I had Mountain Dew pumping through my veins. A lot of people are like, dude, you got Rocky Road running through your veins. I'm a fluffy guy. That's what they like to say. It's like, nah, man, it's Mountain Dew. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Good movie reference. If you get that, let me know down in the comments. But they couldn't sell. It was outlawed. It was banned by Canada. The recipe, the American version of Mountain Dew, because it's basically a poison. I kid you not. But yet, they sell it to us. Why would they restrict it in other countries? I don't know. Because it's bad. Why don't they want countries that make a better product than what we have for ourselves? I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. It's like it was pre-planned. It's like they're doing this crap on purpose. Moving on. Next, we're going to talk about, so the Ukraine bill. Let me get into that because I forgot about the Ukraine bill. I went a totally different direction on that. But this is important, guys. This is absolutely holy crap important. Now, there was I think anyway, that this is the, let me go ahead and get in here and try to, nope, that's the wrong one. I don't remember what that was. Oh, yeah. Abbott says the plant is safe and was not responsible for bacteria that killed 2 kids, but the FDA refuses to reopen it as parents across the U.S. struggle to feed their babies. That is a headline from the Daily Mail, dailymail.com. Why is biggest baby formula plant in the U.S. still shut down after 3 months? I was wrong, 3 months. Abbott says that the plant is safe and was not responsible for bacteria that killed 2 kids. Not even a statistical reason that would even justify a recall by any company. There's not a company out there that would issue a recall anyway. So why is the FDA not reopened it, even though they deemed it clean? It was safe. The bacteria that was responsible was not found in this factory. Stamp of approval, but yet they will not reopen it anyway. But with this this bill, because obviously the federal government makes now here you go, guys. I want you to pay attention to this. The federal government creates a problem. We are going to condemn a plant that wasn't involved in the death of 2 children, condemn them and shut them down, creating a problem where parents cannot feed their children, and the only one that can save us is the very government that caused the freaking problem in the first place. And people wonder why I have issues. Are you... Yeah. You heard me right. So now comes this whole baby formula bill. We have got to help people. We're going to tell them that the thing they need to do, since you can't find baby formula on the shelf, is either go to your doctor and try to get some free samples, or you can go down to the border and say that you're an illegal immigrant, which you'll have to learn Spanish first, because apparently, you know, because they got plenty of baby formula down there. You can go to Who's His Face's house, get some of his baby formula. I forget what the guy's name is. It doesn't matter. But in walks this bill, the baby formula bill. And if I'm not mistaken, this was the bill that there was like 12. Now I'm looking for the article now. I'm not finding it, but there was like 12 people, of course, Democrats, that voted no on this bill. I have no idea what that last word is supposed to be. This is why I have no idea what you're trying to say, sir. I apologize. I have no idea. Anyway, but I seen this article. There was like 12 Republicans that voted against it. And I believe this was in the Senate. You know, I don't remember how many. You know, but I'm looking for the article. I know I saved it. I know I put it in here. I know I seen it. I know I moved it to the proper place, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all. But there were 12 people that voted against this bill. Okay, 12 out of the Senate. Yeah, here we go. I found the article. Let me go ahead and show this to you. It is this one right here. Wow, 12 Republicans broke ranks with their colleagues by having a soul. And I think that they're talking about this. Well, they're either talking about the, okay. So yes, they are talking about the, holy crap. The formula bill, the baby formula bill. That's what this is entailing. 12 Republicans that broke rank with their colleagues by having a soul. The only 12 people who voted against this bill. Now, I know what you're thinking, that this is horrible. Why would these 12 people, do they not want babies to be fed? I mean, of course, that's how the mainstream media is spinning this. But I want you to just don't believe what you read. This headline from Fox News, zero impact on the current crisis. Representative Dan Kernshaw, Republican from Texas, on why he voted against the $28 million FDA baby formula bill. Because here's the thing, guys. Okay, are you guys ready for this? Do you want to know what this baby formula bill actually did? Read a little something, maybe you guys will know. But let me tell you, just in case you don't want to read about it. Here's what it did. It strengthened, reinstitutioned another bill type of thing. That's what the thing says. Gives more power, money, whatever to this act from this bill. And then you go and you look at that bill. See, this is a once removed. Okay, this is like the Kevin Bacon thing on, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but this is the 1 degree of baby formula. And but here's what the thing did. It reinstated or gave more strength or more money to, whatever, this other bill. And this bill, the only thing that it does is, okay, here's the bottom line. This baby formula bill that they passed, that they spent $28 million on, the only thing that it did was give more money to people who are already receiving, are you ready for this? Government aid. So you're on food stamps, you're on WIC, you're receiving government aid, then you're going to receive money to buy baby formula, but that doesn't help you if there's none on the shelves to buy, but we're not even talking about that aspect right now. It's if you have aid, then you will receive more aid to buy what isn't available. But here's the thing. If you're not receiving government aid, guess what this bill did for you? Nothing. It doesn't do jack diddly squat for you. Dan Kernshaw and the other 11 Republicans that voted against this in the Senate, they felt that this bill should help out everybody. And that's why they voted against it. Yeah. This is another instance of our federal government, how they told people that they are the only one that can fix a problem that they themselves create. I mean, if I have ever seen a more pronounced example of this, I can't right now recall. They created the problem. They told you that they are the only ones who can fix the problem. And the only thing that they did was spend money for the sake of spending money. Who cares if they're going to give you more money, give people more money to buy something that isn't even available to buy on the shelves anyway? So, I mean, who cares if you have $10,000 to buy baby formula if you go to the store and there's no freaking baby formula? Yes, I have issues. Why are these people in Washington? That's a really good question, isn't it? Why are these people? What? I mean, really, why are... What the hell? Moving on. What's the next thing I was wanting to get into? Oh, yeah, Ukraine. Oh, Ukraine. Now, guys, look, here's what we have. This is what's going on. All right, let me break it down for you. We have one corrupt government attacking the country that has another corrupt government. As in Putin and government over there are corrupt, and they are attacking Ukraine that has a very corrupt government. Okay, that's what it is. And who's caught in the middle? The people of these countries. Now, I feel for the people in both Russia and Ukraine, in all honesty, because, they don't want to be there. Okay? They don't want to do that. Okay, these people that are feeling the effects of the sanctions, they don't want to feel that either. Okay, they don't want to feel that. They don't have anything to do with this. This is Putin's baby. All right, make Putin pay for his own baby. I don't want to pay for Putin baby. Who would want to pay for Putin baby? Nobody wants to pay for Putin baby. And you have the people of Ukraine that are suffering under this, obviously, because they're the ones getting invaded. But I feel for them. Now, we've already given them money. Okay, we gave Ukraine money a while back ago. And here's the thing. They can't account for this money. They're like, where did the money go? We don't know. Where is it? It's gone. The money is out there. It went to space. That's where the money went. I mean, you guys put this on Elon Musk, jetpack rocket man type of thing going on, and Elon Musk made the rocket man jetpack and then sent, the rocket man up there. What the heck's his name? Rocket man burning out his fuel up here alone. He flew it up there. What's that guy's name? Holy crap, here I am trying to be funny. Where'd it go? Where'd he go? We don't know. Do I got more drinkage? I do. Man, I can't remember his name, and that is driving me crazy. Anyway, they don't know where the money went. Why? Because it was given to a government that is corrupt. And now, because we somehow think that if we throw a little bit more money at it, that some of this will stick to the wall, to the window, to the wall. We're going to throw more money at it because that's what liberals do whenever they're, trying to fix something is, let's not try to fix it. Let's just throw more money at it. And somehow if we throw more money at it, we're going to throw more than what the people that are grabbing a hold of the money, the corrupt government, that more than what they can catch, and maybe some of it will filter down to the people. That's called the trickle-down effect. That's why they don't like the trickle-down effect in taxes, because that's bad. But apparently they love it in this type of case. So yeah, they couldn't contribute. They didn't have any receipts on where this money went. So they thought they would fix the problem by just throwing more money at it. How is that going to help the people? This $40 billion in aid? How is this going to help anybody? It's going to go to the government that's corrupt. This isn't going to help anybody. Moving on. All right, where are we at now? All right, not one more. Actually, we got a couple more. But anyway, we are going to take another quick break. And when we return, we are going to talk about... I need to pick a little bit. Okay, that'll be good. The price at the pump. We're going to talk a little bit about student loans, which will actually circle back to something else. And that's what we got going on. So just a couple minutes, guys, and I will be right back. This is the Ho Ho Show. Don't go nowhere. Have you ever sat down on your throne just to find out that you are dangerously low on shift tickets, making it to where you have to make a mad dash to the store just to pick yourself up some? If this has ever happened to you, pick up the #1 most rated toilet paper found in Uranus and use what the professionals use. Angel Soft. See, I'm just not a fan of some toilet paper. Some of them it's like putting a pillow between your nice rosy. Others, like John Wayne toilet paper, it's like using sandpaper. But do what the professionals use. Use the type of toilet paper that is the Goldilocks of brands, Angel Soft. Available wherever toilet paper is sold. All right, my apologies. I have no idea how long that was quiet for because I had to go grab something. And I got to shut the door. That's all right, though. So we've got a few things. This is going to be the last segment, actually, because I got some things to cover. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the WHO, Elon Musk, great replacement theory, student loan, which is amazing. And we're going to be talking about fuel prices, prices at the pump. Guys, I tell you what, that's where we're going to be starting off right now. Gas prices, prices at the pump. Holy crap! Are they... they're pretty good, you know. There's a lot going on, you know, and I tell you what, I feel bad for anybody right now that owns diesel. Now, here's the thing, okay? Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but diesel should never be higher than the price of gasoline because diesel is a byproduct in refining crude, you know, because it's crude, it's kerosene, gasoline, diesel, and then I forget what's actually diesel. So you refine crude, you start separating some crap, and you get kerosene. You refine kerosene, you get gasoline. You refine gasoline, you get diesel. Okay, that's kind of how it is. You know, you run it through the processors, you run it through the filters, and there you go. Okay. So diesel is a byproduct. Okay. Diesel is a byproduct. So diesel should never be higher than gas. It's a waste. It's a byproduct. Okay. Kind of like with DEF, they just found a way how to make money off of cow piss. Because that's what DEF is, diesel exhaust fluid. For anybody that drives a diesel, a newer diesel, especially our truck drivers out there, and Dave, he can attest to this, DEF is literally ammonia in water. And they throw that in there to kind of whitewash, because that's whitewashing. They whitewash the exhaust of diesel engines so you don't have the black coal coming out of there, or at least it's cleaner when it comes out. Or at least it's bleached. That's kind of what it amounts to. Okay. I mean, I was like down to an eighth of a tank, and I had to prepay for $900 freaking dollars. Yes, you heard me right. That is $900, $900 for diesel and DEF to get my tanks mostly full. Actually, I take that back. I think I only spent like $850, but even still, that's $850. Holy crap. That's ridiculous. Now, here's what I am amazed about, okay? We talk about fuel price. We talk about this. We talk about that. You know, one of the articles that I read was about price gouging at the pumps. So let me tell you something, guys, okay? You go to a gas station, you're purchasing fuel, they're not making a lot of money at the pump, okay? I'm talking about at the pump. Because, I mean, let's face it. Most of the gas stations you go to are franchise-owned gas stations, okay? Owned by people who decided to be entrepreneurs. They're not making a lot of money off of the fuel, okay? That's why they sell stuff inside. That's where they make their money on it. In fact, they make most of their money on the fountain drink machine. That's where they're making their money. Okay? Low overhead. Doesn't cost very much to get that syrup, to get the ingredients needed to mix it up. The syrup, the carbonation, the carbonate, the little CO2, the stuff that makes you go, bleh, you know, that's pretty cheap. I'm going to give you a trade secret. The styrofoam cups isn't even an inventory item. Doesn't matter. They just buy it. It's kind of like them buying toilet paper. It's just the cost of doing business. It's a non-inventory item. They make the majority of their money not on the fuel that technically brought you to the store, but they make it off of their Polar Pops, the soft drink, the fountain drinks. That's where they make their money on. They don't make the money on the pump. Let me say that again. I don't know how I can be more clear on this. A gas station don't make money off the pump. They make money off the convenience store. That's why they put stuff in there. That's why they give you candy bars. That's why they give you, phone chargers. That's why they give you, the little roller grills, which they're good whenever you haven't had them in a while. That's why they give you the fountain drinks. They don't give them to you. They sell them to you. That's why they do that, because that's where they make their money. And why is it that the fuel station, I go to Walmart, I want to buy a TV. I want to buy a computer monitor. I want to buy a watch. I love watches. They're amazing. They tell me what time it is. That they're great things, But if I go there, excuse me, I'm having the coffee coughs. But I go to Walmart, I want to buy something, and every other industry out there in the world, they have this is the price, and this is how much it costs, and, this is what the taxes are. They tell you straight up, this is a $20 watch, but we're going to charge you $21.50. I'm making up an arbitrary number because I can't do math. And those are the taxes. So I know any other time that I buy something, how much I am paying for the object that I am purchasing, and how much I am spending on taxes, because the receipt tells me. I don't know if y'all have ever seen a fuel receipt, but the only thing that it says, and you can read this on the pump, is all taxes and fees have been factored into the price that you see at the pump. That's what it tells you. Every single time, every single pump, without fail. The disclaimer that they put in there, which is a disclaimer that is more prominent than this call may be recorded for whatever reasons. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Invest wisely. Disclaimers more prominent than that. Disclaimers that are on there as a warning more prominent than preparation H. Do not take internally. There you have it. Why? What are they so afraid of? I mean, I'll tell you this, guys, okay? Now, do you buy fuel at a truck stop? Let's just say truck stop, a fueling location that is pretty darn close to the interstate. And most people will tell you absolutely not if I can help it. Why? Because it's more expensive. Have you ever asked yourself why it's more expensive? Is it more expensive because the price closer to the interstate just costs more money to get there? Well, no. I mean, it's actually less fuel surcharge. It actually costs less. Man, I'm having a coughing issue right now. It actually costs less to get the fuel to a truck stop than what it does to the gas station that is 20 miles away from the truck stop. So you ain't going to tell me that it's a cost associated with it, but why does fuel cost more at a truck stop at a filling station, son of a gun, that is right there close to the interstate? Because it's taxed more, because that tax money is used to pay for the interstate. That's why it costs so much, because they're charging more in taxes. Why don't they tell you how much you're paying in taxes? Could it be because this fuel that you're actually purchasing at the pump actually only costs like maybe $2 at the pump and $3 taxes, giving us a price of $5 for a gallon of gasoline. Is that the reason why? Because then you'll actually know that you're paying over 50% taxes on the product you're buying. Why is it that they don't tell you? Why is it that you don't even see the taxes that you're paying for on the receipt? Shouldn't that be on there? Again, whenever I buy a TV, I know what I'm paying in taxes. When I buy this coffee here, I know what I'm spending in taxes. When I buy gasoline, I ain't got no idea what the cost for the gasoline, what I'm paying in fees, what I'm paying in taxes. I have absolutely no idea. Why do they keep that quiet? Anyway. I'm going to skip over the whole student loan thing. I don't even care. I really don't. I don't care. The Democrat, because when it comes to the Democrat Party needing to buy votes, they know that the last thing that they can really offer is student loan debt. Student loan debt forgiveness. That's what they want to call it. Okay. Because they've already given away the farm. They just haven't given away, the driveway. Whenever it comes to the Democrat Party. So they got to offer some type of incentive to get people to come to the ballot box and actually mark a check by that guy, by his name that's got the big old D next to it. They got to give some type of incentive. We got to give something away to attract people. We got to bribe them. We got to give them this here $2,000 sign-on bonus to get somebody to fill out an application to come in the workforce. That's what they got to do. We got to get people to do that. So that's why they do the whole student loan debt. But, it's like why don't people do... Okay, it's very telling whenever you can spend $500,000 to go to college for gender studies that is a useless stinking thing to even study, because where are you going to get a job where you're actually going to be able to use that education? That's a really good question. It's a really good question. But you can't get a loan for $50,000, the same age individual, to start a business. They will grant you a $500,000 loan for a nonsensical degree so you can go to college and get indoctrinated, but they won't allow you, the same person, to get a business loan that will actually allow them the tools and means by which to be free. Yeah, we'll just keep it at that. Very telling whenever we live in a society that does that. Really. Look around, guys. Look around. Why is it we have more foreigners? Let's just say that, more foreigners, more immigrants, more people that wasn't born and raised here that own businesses. Good grief. I dare you. And nothing against them, man. More power to them. Okay, more power to them. This ain't nothing against them. This is not any type of an attack on. Man, excuse me. I hate these freaking coughs. Holy God. That's why I was late coming back. It was because I had to get a refill of my coffee because I was coughing. Maybe it's the coffee that's making me cough. Anyway. Had to get my coffee. Coffee that's making me cough. I don't know, maybe. But more power to them, though. Let's just face it, guys. We live in a society that punishes people for wanting to become an entrepreneur and make it on their own. And all they do in the education program is teach people how to be let's just say, dependent on the system to be a good, faithful, and loyal employee. Okay. We encourage people to be an employee, not to go out on a limb and be a business owner. That's the difference between how our education system works versus some other education systems. And therefore, in this country, we have a butt ton, whenever you're looking at the franchise level of business ownership, whom are actually immigrants. Elon Musk is an immigrant. That's why he cannot run for president, because he himself is an immigrant. We don't teach it. We teach you to be a good employee. We don't teach you to go out on a limb, get yourself financial freedom to where you don't got to go to work. But if we actually did a cost-benefit analysis on this whole thing we call college education and actually do it based off of, okay, you're going for a degree and you're going to spend $500,000 to get a degree on gender studies, which is worth like maybe $2,000 because you ain't going to get a job in your field that you're spending all this money on in the education. And, versus, going into college and maybe spending $80,000 on a engineering, something like that you can actually go and get a job in your chosen field and get a butt ton of money, the cost benefit analysis type of a thing. Why are they doing that? It makes no sense, and people are stupid enough to ask for a loan for that college education on a degree that is absolutely worthless, isn't even worth the frame that it was put in, because I'm so proud of my gender studies thing in there, I'm going to put it on the wall. It ain't even worth the frame you put it in. Why are you doing that? Why are these loan companies giving you these loans? I don't understand it. I really don't. I'm just being honest with you. So they created this environment where they put more weight on stupidity, nonsensical degrees that they want you to be in debt into your eyeballs, making college cost too much. And then now the only thing that they can do to attract people to vote for them is to say that I will forgive your debt. Okay, moving on. Now we're going to talk about the Great Replacement, which is kind of goes part and parcel with the whole student loan thing, because they're trying to attract voters. Okay, now I don't know if this is something you guys have heard about with the whole with the replacement theory. That's what it is. I'm like, you guys have heard of race theory, which was the prequel to critical race theory, or critical theory, which was the prequel to critical race theory, and then you have replacement theory. And they're trying to tell us that, oh, no, this isn't what we're doing. This isn't what we're doing at all. Even though there is so much evidence in the contrary that is like, oh, yeah, this is exactly what you're doing. See, here's the thing, guys. The Democrat Party knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that they screwed up. Okay? That their policies are junk. They know this. Their policies are junk. But they know the only way that they're going to be able to attract, or the only way that they can actually get people to show up at the polls so that this way they ain't got to cheat so much, is if they bring in a populace that is so beholden to them that they will vote Democrat hands down. That's why you have the EPA that will, you can't put a shopping mall here because how it's going to impact the environment. But yet we will allow this 400 unit complex to be built in the same location. We can't allow this shopping center because it's going to affect the whales in Utah. But we can build this 400 unit apartment building because that's the way we want to do it. And while you're scratching your head, just know that, yes, this very same thing has actually happened in various states. No say of the local government. No asking. No nothing. I mean, like, and the first thing that they do is they're like, hey, we're going to give you all this government grant money in order to update your sewage facilities. You know, your sewage lines and your water treatment facilities and everything else. We're going to give you all kinds of money to update and widen your roads. We're going to give you all kinds of money to help out with your public transportation. We're going to give you all kinds of money to do all kinds of things you want to. And then is what they do is they force their own agenda onto these localities and basically seize land that they want. And they build these towns up, stacking and stacking and stacking people. And then they're just going to put these illegal aliens into there. Got to feed them, got to clothe them. Oops. Got to feed them, got to clothe them. Got to educate them. Where's all that money coming from? Us. The people who live there. That's where it's coming from. And why are they doing this? They're shipping them to places to red states, to red counties, red districts, because they want to flip it blue because they don't want the opportunity, because they don't like constitutionalists. They don't like that at all because the Constitution restricts their power. They don't want people to know any better. They want them to say, oh, go ahead, take my freedom. I don't care. I don't need it anyway. I'm not using it. I don't need it. They are watering down the vote of the legal citizen and giving people whom are here illegally, they are allowing them to vote to replace your voice. Because they don't want another president like Donald Trump ever to get in the office. If they had it their way, there wouldn't be another Republican, conservative, libertarian that got elected into any office if they had their way. That is replacement theory. I mean, isn't it amazing how the non-citizen has more rights than the citizen? There's something a little backwards about that, isn't it? You know, I mean, there's something wrong with that. The non-citizen has more rights than the citizen. This is ridiculous. This is replacement theory, guys. This is replacement theory. Let's move on. Elon Musk. Yes, this is something I had to talk about because this was hilarious to me. Okay. This was absolutely hilarious. It started off as a Trump will be back. And you know what, Josh? I believe you. I really do. I believe you that Trump will be back. You know, our next two presidents, this is going to be, you know, if we can stand our ground, because they do not have a very big majority in the Senate. They don't have a very big majority. Actually, they do not have a majority whatsoever in the Senate. They have a very slim majority in the House of Representatives. If we hold our, if we stand our ground, okay, the next two presidents will be Trump for 4 years and then Ron DeSantis for 8. That's what I'd love to see happen. Get Trump in there, no holds barred, clean the swamp. He had a hard time doing it last time. Clean the swamp. The best, most conservative president that our nation has ever known in modern history. Even better than, the kingpin of the Republican Party, Ronald Reagan. He was a more conservative president than even Ronald Reagan. It's amazing. Then Ron DeSantis for 8 years. Holy crap. Trump to clean the swamp and Ron DeSantis to rebuild the nation. Could you imagine what this country would look like after the next 12 years of these two people being president? Wow. I mean, that's all I was like, gives me goose pimples. Could you imagine what this country would look like after 12 years of these two people sitting in that chair, occupying that office, defending America, standing up for the American people? Could you imagine what this country would look like? 4 more years of Donald Trump. 8 years of Ron DeSantis. Whew. Good times. Let me tell you, good times. But with Elon Musk, all right, let's jump back on this train. You had a guy who bought 9% of Twitter shares. 9% Twitter shares, making him the single biggest shareholder in Twitter. They're like, hey, we're going to offer you a seat on the council. We're going to bring you a seat at the table, to where this way you can, you can say, and give your input and everything else on that, and he's like, oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll consider that. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, if you're a board member, you can never own anything over 15% stocks in that, in Twitter. Oh. So if I become a shareholder, I can't own any more than 15% stock ownership. No, can't. Okay. I'm going to think about that for a while. Next thing you know, he puts a bid in. I think it was $41 billion to just, he comes back to deals like, oh yeah, by the way, I just want to buy it for $40 billion. They were like, no, not going to happen. Then he goes, all right, how about $43 billion? Wow. It's a lot of money. Yes, it is. It's a lot of money. I mean, $1 billion is I'm never working again a day in my life. And neither is anybody in my immediate family. Neither is anybody in my somewhat extended family. We're set for life. And that's just taking your money to the bank and putting it in there with your, standard 6% and, compounded interest. Never working a day in your life. Because the interest is on $1 billion is like 57 point something million dollars every single day. I don't know anybody that can spend $57 million every single day. That is the interest daily on $1 billion. And we're somehow supposed to get out of debt. Okay. Having trillions of dollars national debt. Okay, all right. I'm just going to buy for $43 billion. Okay, fine. And then he goes, oh yeah, by the way, and by the way, right after the 9% buyout of the shares, you've seen things on Twitter start to change immediately. I mean, it was unreal how quickly things started to change. Okay. And now you have an audit going on of Twitter users. An audit that's being done to see just how many of all these people that are on Twitter are actually humans, because that's what they're paying for. Okay. That's what Elon Musk is paying for, the influence of the platform. And already you are seeing so much stuff being talked about as far as how many bots are on the platform. Well, look, I'm not paying for a bot. A bot is an influence. It's a bot. I'm not paying for a bot. He's doing this to drive the price down to make people realize that, you know what? Twitter isn't exactly all it's knocked up to be, because here you have these people like Joe Biden, like AOC, like all these other people that have all these followers, and most of them, or at least a very large, substantial amount of their followers, are bots. Fake. Fake. And they're shadow banning, and they are not allowing other people's stuff to get out there, making it seem like nobody cares about what they think. And I know several people that's happened to, people on the right. I'm not one of them. I fly underneath the radar. I'm small fish, guys. So he's doing an audit on there just to see how many bots are actually on there. And you're seeing people's, like literally overnight, people's followers drop on the Democrat side. And people's numbers starting to skyrocket on the conservative side. It's amazing. It really is. So I'm anxious to see what happens next. Because you have somebody whom was a Democrat who said, you know, y'all suck. I'm done with the Democrat Party. I'm switching to Republican. And it was amazing how quickly the wolves and the jackals lined up and started attacking him. I'm like, it wasn't even 12 hours after Elon Musk announced that he is changing his party to Republican, that he didn't get a sexual harassment lawsuit against him. Holy crap. It was almost like they were waiting for him to announce before they were like, he touched me in my bad place. Yeah. They're afraid, guys. They're afraid of conservatives, libertarians getting together, talking about what is wrong with this nation, coming up with solutions on how to fix it, and the people rising up and doing our constitutional, not right, but duty to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and, say it with me, domestic. They don't want us getting together and talking. They don't want us having a free and fair platform that has a global reach, giving us, I don't want to say giving people on the right and conservatives, you know, any type of a benefit. It's more like, you know, you're no longer restricting us. Because they also know that their arguments don't hold water, which is why they lie on how good the economy is doing now versus how it was doing under President Trump. Because they don't actually want you to think about how things are right now. They want to just tell you a narrative. And since nobody has a memory anymore, it's the memory of now, forget yesterday. Everybody in this country has Alzheimer's. Cognitively incompetent, just like the president. Everybody in this nation has cognitive issues, apparently. Things weren't great under Obama. Things were pretty stinking good under Trump until the left got together and they shut down the country in the form of COVIDs. The country is doing horribly still, worse than any other time in history. I mean, we had the best numbers in history. Now we've got the worst. And they're trying to lie to the people and say that, oh, no, things aren't really this bad. This is all because of Trump. Wait a second. You mean to tell me that Trump shut down the gas lines? And you mean to tell me that Trump did all this stuff? Putin wouldn't have dared done this if President Trump was in the White House still. Tell me I'm wrong. People in this nation are, well, I'm sorry, but they're idiots. And then you have what's going on with one of the things this nation is looking at doing in the form of with the WHO. You see, this headline from Real Clear Politics. Now, guys, if this doesn't upset you, if this doesn't piss you off, if this doesn't light a flame underneath your hindquarters, I don't know what will. This is not hyperbole. This is true. And if you don't understand the implications, if you don't understand what is going on by this one simple headline, then there ain't nothing I can do for you. And this nation really is lost. Pack your bags, go somewhere else, or just allow us to go by way of Venezuela. We've lost our freedom. Real Clear Politics. Headline: Biden moves to cede sovereignty to the WHO. Did you hear what I said? Real Clear Politics. Headline: Biden moves to cede sovereignty to the WHO. Now, what am I talking about? We had this big old shutdown due to a global pandemic. And the Democrat Party didn't do so good, okay? Because the rulings, the shutdowns, the things that they were doing made absolutely no sense. None of it did. Follow the science. When are you going to start to follow the science? They shut the economy down. It's still shut down. A 2-week shutdown over 2 years later, and we're still experiencing, stupidity going on. And the Democrat Party isn't doing so well because of it. Because why? Because they lied to the people. The numbers didn't add up. And people are seeing the numbers coming back. People are actually starting to see that, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. And again, the Democrats are like, holy crap, we don't like this, and this is the whole entire reason. See, this is the thing, okay? They learned a little something. Okay, the Democrat Party, they learned a little something. Politicians learned a little something. Okay? I have said this in episodes past. We have what is called a constitution, a government. This constitution formed 3 separate but equal branches of government. And they each have their own place that they are supposed to operate in. Okay? Okay, this is like the three forms of matter on our plane of existence. Solid, liquid, gas. Holy crap. For those of you that are watching, they're on Facebook and the YouTubes and the Twitters. You've seen that whole, what's the 3 stages of matter? I got to think about it there for a second. I mean, that was like, holy crap. That was a brain fart. Holy crap. But we have a government, 3 separate but equal branches. They're both, all 3 of them. Holy crap. All 3 of them with their own purview of power and limitations. You have the executive branch, which is just that, to execute the laws. You have the judicial branch, and I'll get to them last. You have the legislative branch to legislate, to write the laws. The executive branch to make sure that those laws are carried out in a constitutional way. And if they are not, you have the legislative branch to judge those laws against the Constitution, not against their own political agenda, but against the Constitution. Does this law violate the terms of the Constitution? Yes or no? If yes, then it is ripped apart, it is thrown away, it no longer exists. It is done. It is out the door. It is unconstitutional. It does not belong here. There you go. But what we have now is a failure to communicate. Now we have judges writing laws. People who are unelected by government that, like with Obamacare, that, well, no, this isn't exactly constitutional, but you know what? I like it anyway, so I'm just going to do it. Instead of throwing out the bill because it was unjust and unconstitutional, they said, hey, there's some problems with this. Instead of ripping it apart and throwing it away and telling the legislative branch that you've got to go back to the drawing board because you guys suck at this, instead, they fixed it for them. That's not within their purview of power. That's like one solid object trying to go through another solid object that goes against the laws of physics. You can't do that. You have the executive branch that writes laws too. Like the ruling body of my job, the Department of Education, has this big old thick book of all kinds of rules that I got to follow that carry the weight of law. Well, this is a group of bureaucrats. This is what they're talking about by the swamp. Unelected bureaucrats that are not beholden to the people. So what if you change the presidency? The director of the FBI doesn't change. Can't really get rid of him because, well, we can't do that, because we had a Republican get rid of all that once, and we didn't like that. So the next time a Democrat was in charge, we just wrote a rule saying that you can't just fire people just because it's a changing of the guard. They got to stay. Even though their job is to serve at the pleasure of the president, they do not want them necessarily beholden to the president and the party that they represent and the people that they are supposed to represent. So you have unelected bureaucrats, again, that are writing more regulations than the legislative branch is laws, and they are the ones who are actually the lawmakers. Holy crap, I'm hating this. We're almost done. So our federal government learned a little something, something on how they have warped the Constitution and have done things and continue to do things just because they can get away with it. And here's the thing, you always refer to like the whole plausible deniability thing. Why does Congress allow the executive branch to get away with writing laws? Plausible deniability. Well, we're not the ones who wrote these laws. We can't be held responsible for these laws. Even though, yes, it's our job to write these laws and not the executive branch's laws. And yes, that is my fault for allowing them to do that. But don't forget, we still have the power of the purse. So even though they establish this and they operate outside the purview of their constitutional bindings on them that they break through, plausible deniability. Even though I have the power to defund an agency that is not operating according to the Constitution, it's not my responsibility. I'm not responsible for the rules and regulations that they break. Okay. So they learn a little something, something. Sorry, got a text message. Okay, all right. Hold on one second. Crap. Okay, there we go. Done. So the whole plausible deniability thing. The backlash was so great about the shutdowns that made absolutely zero sense. You can be in a car, but you can't be in a boat. You can do this, but you can't do that. The rules making no sense. The backlash against the Democratic Party was so severe that they're like, if this happens again, we have to somehow give up our sovereignty to somebody else to give us the plausible deniability so that this way, whenever it happens again, we can just, not our fault. And so it's what they did is like, we're going to allow the WHO, the World Health Organization, to shut down the country, do whatever they want to do in the event of another global pandemic. Now, here's the thing, guys. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. Holy crap, 2.5 hours. Crap. I want you to pay attention to this. This right here is treason. There is nothing in this country above this right here. This is the Constitution of the United States of America. They are violating their oaths of office. They cannot enter into a treaty without Congress. Biden cannot enter into a treaty without Congress. Congress does not have the authority to put our sovereignty in the head of another organization, even one like the WHO, because you are putting the sovereignty of the nation above, into the hands of an outside, not even a local, making it to where the WHO supersedes the authority of the Constitution. This is the supreme law of the land. The supreme law of the land. They are committing treason. If they go through with this, if this actually happens, this is treason. Do you recall the punishment for treason? Do you remember? Maybe these people should stop and think about what they're doing before they continuously piss off the American people. That's all I got for you today, guys. 2.5 hour show. Holy crap. That was definitely longer than intended. Definitely longer than intended. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all sticking around. Appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It was a good time. Next week, same bat time, same bat channel. You always have yourself a great one. Good night. Sleep tight at the, all that good stuff. Bye. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.